Hey, welcome to another podcast with Neck Roots. I'm Kit James.
Austin Davis.
And we're coming to you live from the Neck Roots Ranch. And today's title is Listen to You.
Listen to yourself, right, Kit?
Yeah.
This is awesome. So, I mean, gut feeling, intuition, inner voice, whatever you want to call it, right? I think the most important thing that we need to realize about this is that it's ours.
Yeah.
Right? It belongs to us. It's nobody else's. This is something that is ours, right? It's our thoughts, our feelings, right?
Exactly.
Why not listen to it? Why not give it some attention, right?
You know, that's easier said than done. When you think about it, there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of direction. There's a lot of different, trends, if you call it. For example, it's so funny because my wife always, and my kids are always telling me what the trends are. Yeah. Because I've dressed the same way and done the same thing
forever
for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? So I'll say, look at this clown. Look at what they're wearing, you know?
Yeah.
Or look at this fanny pack.
I've done the same thing.
You know what I mean? And she'll be like, oh, those are in. They just came in like 2.3 weeks ago. And blah, 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 blah. And I'll be like, really?
That's in style now?
That came back. So first it came and then it went. And then 15 years later, it comes back again. And I just can't help just the way I'm wired to think, who's pulling the strings, man?
Yeah, no kidding.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just like, well, I'll always be out of style, I guess.
There you go.
Right? But
you're in neck style, so that's all that matters.
Well, hey, speaking of that, Father's Day wasn't too long ago, and I'm two new boot goofing.
Two new boot goofing, huh?
Two new boot goofing.
Awesome, dude.
Yep.
That's a good Father's Day, man.
So I don't know if they're in style or not, but
they work. If they're comfortable, they work.
Yeah, if they fit, they're good.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's funny because they'll always remind me, and I'll always remind them. I don't care what the trends are, man. If you're following a trend, you're a follower, and I always tell my boys, you following those trends? You following those trends? You know, and give them a hard time.
Sure.
And I'll always remind them the difference between a follower and a leader. And I said, don't pay attention to none of that noise.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, if you're marketing something or doing something or trying to, be on the cutting edge of something,
then you got to follow a trend.
Yeah, you got to pay attention to it. But just, in my four walls, I always remind them, forget about that fanny pack. That's old school, man.
Yeah.
You want one? I probably can dig one out for you.
Right. Straight from the 80s.
Yeah. The only time you wear a fanny pack's when you're riding motocross and you need a few tools.
That's true. Yep.
Right?
Yep, I got one.
Even then, I strap it to my handlebars. So that's one of the things that came to mind right away. And then when I was younger and growing up, we moved a lot and I went to a lot of different schools. And, having a first name that's a little bit different, it's not Michael, Joshua, Jacob, Gregory, or whatever.
Sure.
Right? My name's Kit. They're like, what's that short for? I'm like,
Kit?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, that your real name? I'm like, well, it ain't my nickname.
It's not my fake name.
And if you keep it up, you're going to find out why they call me Billy the Kid.
Yeah,
right?
no joke.
So anyways, I'm sitting at the bus stop one morning and back then funds were a little low. Right. And maybe I didn't have all the nicest on the first day of school when you're in elementary school, you go out the bus stop, everybody looks like they work at a hospital because their shoes are bright white.
Oh yeah, dude. Everybody's got the new school year clothes.
Yeah. I mean, their Levi's are still ironed.
Yep.
Right. It's like they're standing up by themselves.
Yeah. They got the crease.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think I had new clothes on, but I'll never forget I didn't have new shoes on.
Yeah.
Right? I still had my old kicks going. And some of the kids, this is the first time I've been at the bus stop. Well, they wanted to poke fun at my shoes. And so I listened to them for a minute. And when they were done, I said, you know what's funny? I got new shoes, brand new. Just as wide as that, if not wider. I just didn't choose to wear them today because that's goofy. Where I come from, if you wear your brand new shoes on the first day, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Right? And I went on selling these guys.
You sold it on?
Oh, dude, I sold past the close. I kept going. I was still going. I was on the bus, still going.
Dang.
I was at school, I was still going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
The next day, what's interesting is the next day at that bus stop, there were no new shoes on.
Everybody's wearing their old shoes, dude.
Yeah, there were some parents that were probably pissed about that.
There you go. But that's a good example of like following intuition, right? You could have done something else in that situation that maybe wouldn't have ended as well, but you know, you had this thought of, well, I'm just going to tell them that you wear where I come from, you wear your old shoes on the first day of school. Followed through with that, and it ended up being good.
Yeah.
Right?
I was just playing defense, honestly.
And you follow your intuition when it comes to, like you said, like what you wear and not following trends. And I think this is really important because this helps us. Following your intuition, following the inner voice, listening to yourself is key to remembering your roots and sticking to them. Right, Kit?
And I think this subject is so important because no one knows better than you. We've always heard the old adage, listen to your gut. And what does that really mean? It means listen to your feelings and your emotions. I think there's a big difference between your mind and your feelings and your emotions and your heart, right?
Yeah.
Between your heart and your mind, there's a big difference because your heart can't think for itself and your mind can. And your mind will automatically go to a logistical or a logical explanation, and you might be able to talk yourself into something and maybe bend your values a little bit and say, well, you know, I mean, it is the trend, or it is this, or it is that, and deep down, your values or your heart knows better, right?
Yeah, sure.
And so when we say listen to your gut, that's one thing I think of is, you know. Deep down, you know.
You do.
And also deep down, you know who you can become and you know who you are and you know your real value. It's just believe in it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. In fact, kind of to go along with this is not overthinking something. Like you said, like you can use your brain and it takes a logical approach to ideas. I can't even tell you how many times, Kit. It's got to be 95% of the time. And I got to change this because it's not a good thing. But I will talk myself out of thoughts and ideas that I have all the time, right? I'll just start overthinking them and justify to myself why my own ideas are bad ideas.
Yeah.
And then I never execute on them, right? Which is horrible for, if you think about it, that's pretty bad for your mental health, because following through, like listening to your intuition, your inner voice, and then executing on that, you make faster decisions and you build confidence in yourself. And I think all of us, you know, everybody, Neck Nation, all of us, we could use more confidence, right? So as we listen to ourselves and follow our inner voice, whatever you want to call it, dude, you're going to build some confidence.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's huge because no one knows better than you what you need. And I mean, we could be confused about this or that, or I think this, or I think that this would be the right path, or you can be unsure.
Sure.
But as long as you're going and you're doing and you're acting on your desires and your dreams and your thoughts, and they're yours and yours alone, then you're acting on that which will make you happy. Because as soon as you start acting on those outside influences and society's expectations, when you start trying to meet their needs and their demands, you're going to find out real quick and in a hurry that those don't satisfy or fulfill you or make you happy, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Following your own path and taking all that society's expectations and taking all those different ideas in is a good thing.
Yeah.
But making them your own is real.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Absolutely is. And I think, you know, there's no shortage of our ability to listen to ourselves, right? There's no hindrance there. There's no barricade that keeps you from listening to yourself other than you, right? And overthinking things like we just talked about. But, you know, kind of a funny analogy, you know, I'm married, you're married, I've got kids, you've got kids. And then if you've got teenage kids, dude, they're never listening to you. It doesn't matter what you say, right? They're listening to their own inner voice, right? As inexperienced as it is. And so why not listen to yourself, right? Nobody else is listening to you. And I think that's key. And the other part of this, Kit, is that if we don't listen to ourselves, if we don't follow intuition, if we don't follow our gut feelings, eventually that becomes weak, right? We stop having these thoughts, right? Or we have less of them, because in reality, like if nobody's listening to you on the outside, you shut up, you stop talking, right? You just don't say anything. And your intuition and your inner voice will do the same thing.
Yeah. You ever been to a restaurant and you've never been there before, it's your first time, and someone says, hey, you should really try this. Or you ask the waiter, hey, what do you recommend?
Yeah.
Right? And they, oh, you know what, most people, this is our most popular, and this is why, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, sometimes they're right.
Yeah.
But have you ever had that time when you're like, yeah, those spices or that kind of food doesn't really sit well with me, and you go, oh, okay, I'll try that.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you get done halfway into
regret.
it. Yeah. And you go, man, I wish I would have listened to myself.
Yep.
I wonder how many times we say, man, I wish I would have listened to myself.
Dude, all the time.
Yeah.
I have that feeling all the time. And then it leads to remorse. Like, gosh, dude, I made the wrong choice because I didn't listen to myself. I should have trusted myself.
Yeah.
Along those same lines is if we don't listen to ourselves, if we constantly take the opinions and thoughts of others and follow those and we don't listen to ourselves, in some kind of way, we are admitting to ourselves internally that our thoughts don't matter,
Yeah.
or we're admitting to like some level of stupidity. Like, my thoughts are stupid, so I shouldn't listen to them. We can't
Yeah.
do that to ourselves, Kit.
I mean, this
It's
is
so damaging.
this is one of those subjects. It's you versus you, and you're right. We are in our own way.
Yeah,
No matter what, even if you're good at it, you still have to be conscious about it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And so I think through the things that help, like listen to you sounds like, yeah, of course I'm going to listen to me. It seems a little selfish, right?
yeah,
But when you're listening to your emotions, your feelings, and your own intuition, that's not selfish, right? If you're listening to what your favorite restaurant versus your wife's favorite restaurant is, then that's different.
yeah,
But when you listen to your inner self, there's nothing selfish about it. I think it's smart. It's healing. It does build confidence, and you're really tuning in.
Yeah.
Just like Neck Nation's tuning in right now. To become better tomorrow and get whatever help we can all get. Right. We need to tune into ourselves, and I think what are some of the things? And I think knowing our values and knowing who we are is one.
Yeah.
Tuning into ourselves and listening to ourselves and taking maybe a time every day to just, tune into ourselves, do a checkup,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Being aware of our self-talk and our thoughts and getting rid of those negative thoughts, because that's when it's us versus us leads to a roadblock,
Yeah,
right? It leads to that over-evaluation or whatever it is, talking ourselves out of something. And there's times when I've believed in myself and I'm like, I'm going to do this or this, and maybe I didn't have it all right, right?
yeah,
But the truth is, the reason we're told to listen to our parents when we're younger is not because they know it all, but they have a lot of experience. And I think even when we are wrong and we do hit that roadblock, those are experiences, and we can pass that on to ourselves, not in a negative way, and file it away in a positive way where, hey, that didn't work. This is why,
yeah,
right? Use that as a stepping stone. And so all those things, I think, if we do it with the right attitude and the right way, and it's in self-care, and it's like, hey, I'm just trying to become better tomorrow than I am today.
yeah,
Right. And knowing who we are, knowing our roots and knowing where we came from and knowing who we can become, all those things are going to help us listen to ourselves and trust ourselves.
absolutely. And this what you just said ties into something that it might have been on like our first or our second podcast, but you'd said something. You're driving down the freeway and you see these guys riding shotgun in their own trucks, and they don't even know where they're going, right?
Yep.
And there have been studies that have shown that following your intuition, following your gut feeling, is a quality of leadership. And we need to take control of our own lives, right?
Yeah.
We need to be the leader of our own life, the
Yeah.
leader of our own path, right? And follow that gut instinct. And that goes back to, following your roots and knowing ourselves, right? And trusting yourself.
Yeah.
Trust yourself with these things.
We got to believe in ourselves the same way a 5-year-old believes in the dad, believes in his hero, because there's that 3 or 4 year period where you're his hero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Dad's a hero. And it's like, man, if you could believe in yourself the way that 5-year-old wearing that cape does,
No kidding.
forget about it.
Yeah, nobody
Right?
stands a chance. And here's another thing, kid. Here's a good example, right? Let's say, I know you love your truck,
Yeah.
right? You love that truck. Let's say somebody's driving your truck. You let somebody go drive your truck, and they get into a car accident, man. I know you're gonna want to make sure they're okay.
Make sure my truck's okay.
And yeah, dude, that's yeah. Exactly. I'm talking to you on the phone, so I already know you're okay. Tell me about my truck, right? But you might have, or you might harbor some feelings against that person for crashing your truck, right? Now, let's say you crashed your own truck. you've got nobody to blame but yourself.
Yeah.
And you got to work through it. Same thing with our thoughts, man.
Yeah.
Same thing with ideas. If somebody else gives you an idea and it doesn't work out, you might harbor thoughts against that individual. Be like, man, they told me to do this. It didn't work out. Those guys are a bunch of idiots. Like, whatever. But if it's your own idea and it doesn't work out, you know, we talked about taking ownership, and then you fix it. You learn from it, right? You grow. You learn and grow. You don't grow if you're blaming somebody else for your mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So just follow your intuition, man. Make your own mistakes.
And
Don't make somebody else's.
And even then, even if someone did crash the truck, you handed them the keys, man.
That's true. It comes back to you.
It's still on you. If you're going to trust yourself, you got to be honest with yourself, right?
That's true. Yeah.
No matter what, you got to take that ownership. It's like, dude, I gave him the keys. I'm a dummy.
Yep. There you go.
I knew he was 12, but I gave him the keys anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I got a story I'm going to share about intuition, and this is it's kind of a sad story, so I'll just kind of key it up that way. But it's an example of when I didn't follow intuition, and it kind of led to a change in my life since then. But there was this individual that I knew, and I got to know them really well. Super great person. Yeah. I mean, just an infectious personality, just high on life, living their life, loving everything about it, right? Awesome person. And we got disconnected over time, and they went on with their life. They ended up getting married and stuff. And I just always had these feelings like maybe that marriage wasn't very good, right? I had this thought that the marriage wasn't very good, the relationship wasn't good, maybe this person wasn't being treated very well. And eventually, their relationship ended. And I kept having these thoughts like, dude, you have got to reach out to this individual. You got to call him.
Yeah.
And I had these thoughts for like almost 2 years, I would say, of this nagging feeling inside me. You got to call him. You got to call him. And I don't know why I didn't, but I never did. And then this individual ended up taking their own life.
Oh, that's sad.
And you know, I don't blame myself, but the question does come to mind. Like, why did I have this nagging thought to reach out to this person for so long? And would it have changed something? I'm not going to say like I'm the key that would have saved this person's life, but would there be a different outcome had I followed my intuition? And dude, that stuck with me. That hit me really hard because I cared about this person, even though for whatever reason, I didn't reach out. And ever since then, anytime I get a feeling to reach out to somebody, dude, I'm doing it. And it doesn't matter if it's somebody that I haven't talked to in a long time or maybe that I had a falling out with, right? I'll reach out to them. And if they don't want to get back to me, that's their choice, right? But a lot of times they do get back to you. And so that was kind of a life-changing experience for me to follow my inner voice.
You know what? That is sad. And you just never know. But at least you learned something positive from it, and it changed the way you react to your inner voice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's good. There's, there's something to go along with that. I remember walking in to my mom's house, years ago, and I was with my wife and had the kids with me, and I don't remember what I was doing. I was grabbing something, but she was on the phone, and she had just hung up the phone, and I could tell she was a little shaken up, and I said, hey, is everything okay? And she said, yeah, this family member is having a hard time, and looks like, they're going to get a divorce. And I'm like, really? That's too bad. And this is going on. There were some other little things going on that were kind of forcing her down that direction. And I said, well, what does she want to do?
Yeah.
And she goes, well, she don't want to do it. And I said, well, then don't do it. Well, there's this going on and that going on. And this family member's got some financial help going on, and they're trying to help her, and they're not trying to hurt her.
No.
Right? They were trying to do the right thing, but their idea of the right thing might have been different than her idea of the right thing.
Sure.
And so I remember getting in the car, and I told my wife, I said, we're going over to this family member's house. She goes, honey, it's raining cats and dogs. It's 10 o'clock at night. I said, I don't care if it's midnight.
Yeah.
We're going. It's just what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to knock on the door for a good 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, yo, it's me.
Yeah.
And I know we haven't talked for a few years because I haven't talked to him for a few years. You get busy, you get ripping and running, and you get disconnected. But anyway, she finally answers the door, and you tell she's been in tears and just really struggling with this decision. and on one hand, the family is trying to help, is saying, hey, you need to do this, period, end of story. From the outside looking in, we're telling you this is the best thing for you. Well, she doesn't want to let them down either.
Yeah.
Right? And go against their will because they're family. And at the same time, she has her own thoughts. And I said to her, I don't care what anyone thinks. I came over tonight because I want to ask you one question, and that is, what do you want to do? And she says, I want to work it out. I love him, and I know we can work it out.
Yeah.
And I said, then do it. She's like, well, these guys are helping me here. And I said, forget about dollars and cents. What's it going to take for you to make your own decision? And I'll write you a check for that amount, period, end of story. You make the decision based on your heart. Only you know what you need, right?
Yeah.
And did that cause a few problems? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, right.
Did I ruffle a few feathers doing that? Probably.
Sure.
But that wouldn't be me if I didn't. So, but anyways, at the end of the day, if you fast forward a couple of months, they stayed together, and he ended up passing away of a heart attack at a very young age. And it was sad. But it would have been a lot more sad if she wouldn't have listened to what she wanted.
Oh, for sure.
And you know what? It just goes to show you that deep down, your feelings and your emotions are real. They matter, and you need to listen, right?
Yeah.
And not only just listen. There's a difference between listening and hearing, right?
Oh, big time.
And we need to hear ourselves, right? Yeah. We need to listen first, but we need to hear, which means we need to trust ourselves.
Yep.
And then we need to send it with confidence.
Yeah, I like that. Send it with confidence.
Yeah.
And there's something that you told me, it's been quite a while ago, but it's that you can't tell big ideas to small-minded people.
Right.
And the reason that I bring that up is, you know, we talk ourselves out of things, right, all the time. I'm sure you've talked yourself out of something when you overthink things. But sometimes we allow other people to talk us out of our ideas and our thoughts. We give up control, we give up power, right, and let other people dictate what it is that we should do. And in this example that you gave here, she, you know, this family member, you know, had this internal struggle, right? I've got these people telling me what to do, and then when it came down to it, she did what she wanted to do, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But we have to trust ourselves. We've got to give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. We've got to love yourself enough to listen and hear yourself, and don't let anybody diminish your ideas or take away from your thoughts, right? Yep. Don't let people do that to you. And if it's important to you, reach out to a few people, right, to get some feedback, right? But not everybody, right? No. And that's something that I've learned from you. So,
and I think society's expectations are going to be already dished out. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, subconsciously, whatever, they're dished out, man. The trends are out there. This is out there. This is hip. This is cool. This is dope. This is Western. This ain't. All those things are there. They're in front of our face. And your group, your core group that you hang out with that influence you, they're going to have ideas too. I mean, in this situation, there was a family that loved her and was trying to do the best for her. They weren't trying to do anything wrong. They were trying to do the best for her. But it turns out the only person that knew what was best for her was her.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I think when it comes down to those critical situations in our own life and our own path, that's the truth for all of us, every one of us. Only we know. We just got to hear and believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So having trust in ourselves. So, well, Neck Nation, do you have anything else you want to add to this message on listening to ourselves, Kit?
No, just listen to you.
Listen to you. Hear you. Right? Awesome. Well, we'll leave you with that message, Neck Nation. Remember to like and share this video. The more you like and share it, we can get through that algorithm, however that works. Neither one of us know how that works.
It don't even matter.
We just
listen and send it.
We just listen and send it. So like and share the video. Be sure to follow us on social media, and check out www.neckroots.com. Get yourself a hat and a t-shirt. Go outside and look good, and remember your roots. So
and listen to you. Right now, your inner self saying, man, I need one of them lids.
Yeah, it is. Listen to yourself, right? Awesome. We'll leave you with that, Neck Nation, and bless up.
Bless up. Thanks.